here from forZe. If I'm going to be looking at any two players in particular, it's got to be Flit and XE-Power. They were having massive amount of impact on Inferno. They need to bring that forward, and they need to continue that going into Dust 2.
Continuing going into Dust 2 if they want to stay alive here in Malta Vibes. Of course, to remind you, the Malta Vibes is brought to you by Gaming Malta, our home of gaming excellence. And this next map could well put Endpoint in the grand finals here. The choice aside to be taken by forZe. I imagine they'll look towards the T side start. Their CT sides have been, a little bit hit and miss, as you mentioned in the past. And they'll need to work on some of themselves, especially to take away that early, momentum swing for Endpoint if they can get onto the T side. I think that probably is the best thing that forZe could do. They're going to opt to stay on CT, actually. Okay, that's... I don't think they've calculated that as well as I would have done, to be honest.
That's a little interesting. Certainly the stat line's kind of pooped towards the T side, but look, all to their own. And you've got to think for forZe, certainly into the playoffs of any event, they're going to come well prepared. So they certainly have something up their sleeve. But at the same time, Endpoint's probably been able to see a lot of it before, considering how many times these teams have faced off against one another. And for forZe, for me, the only way that they can get back into Dust 2 is if they can get that AWP firing up. We have a look at the odds going in there for Lootbet. 2.05 for the forZe side, 1.72 for Endpoint. If you do want to get involved in those odds, heading down to the links below the Twitch channel. And, do they check Flit?
Yes, they do. And Crucial starts things off on the right foot, but Xe and Jerry there for the trades. A 2-for-1, making it 4-for-2 as surreal finds one response, but his teammates have all gone down. This pistol from Endpoint has already started going to Jello. Surreal's got the bomb on his back, up for a 4K clutch. Face crack's also right there at the longhouse. Surreal's got to check his right-hand side. Backs a turn. USP taps up the headshot. And a beautiful way to respond to the early control of Endpoint. forZe get the pistol round.
Oh, that was very aggressive in the pistol round. We saw the underpass presence coming up, the lower tunnels presence coming out from Flit. They start to try and establish a crossfire out towards shore. And for forZe, it's the intent of getting aggressive on the CT side, which really catches Endpoint completely off guard. And I'm even surprised that they're buying the issue here, considering they didn't get too many kills and they didn't get a bomb plant, Jay.
A heavy investment for Endpoint here. Bit overly heavy for my liking, but it is still going to be a force buy round. Endpoint love to go for the second force buys up. The Eagles Tech 9 scout out for Crucial. Going to try and land one of those opening kills down to that mid position. Unfortunately, not quite able to land them as effectively as he likes to. Missing out, but getting close. No tags so far on the CT camps. So forZe, for the most part, get away unscathed.
And these MP9s, they want to try and get up close, but I say that Robin's actually found the opening kill, and that might try and force them quickly into the short position, but even that incendiary, that's going to give them a little bit of time for the CTs to get into the right positions to hold off this pressure.
Surreal and Thomas are very, very low. Flit with his SMG, he could do a ton of damage for his trouble. Flashes coming in, he's still playing close towards the edge of the wall. 3 kills for Flit as he transfers the spray and gets the USP kill on Robin. Face crack coming in from the backlines, deals with Crucial in the mid position as well, and that force buy just gets absolutely decimated. So 2-0 for forZe, Endpoint up for the full eco.
Oh, well, there you go. Flit getting some really nice kills coming through. Great damage in terms of economy coming out from that MP9. And for Endpoint, they were successful in the early round. They found that opening kill, but they really couldn't go any further than that. And 2-0 start coming out for the forZe camp. And for Endpoint, not too many upgrades coming out, Jay. So really shouldn't expect too much work to be done to the Endpoint side.
XE-Power taking out Robin to start things off, eventually getting that headshot in. And Thomas, instead of finding a face crack there at the car position, one player does fall to the SMG, and the Deagle can't quite get Flit. 41 HP, he eventually does fall to the Deagle headshot, so a bomb plant can be secured for an eco round. Be a pretty decent pickup so far here for Endpoint. A third frag will do even more damage. They might just find it here on Jerry. Crucial's timing is awful, though. He ends up taking damage, and so we're getting forced back here. They know exactly where he is, and they can just hit the bomb defuse, I should say, from the CT camp. And there you go, 3-0 for forZe, but again, damage done by Endpoint. A bomb plant to be secured, meaning the buy into round 4 will look very confident from the T side.
And that bomb plan actually allows that AWP to come out for Crucial. I've got to be honest, I didn't even think that they would get away with a couple of kills. They got 2 in a bomb plant, so they can certainly be happy about that. Getting that AWP straight into the hands of their main man. Now, Flit and XiPower, you spoke about a little bit in the pregame about potentially the double AWP setups coming out from forZe. This time, we didn't see it at all on Inferno, but we're seeing it in the early stages of Dust 2, coming out straight away.
Fast players coming in from Endpoint in general, they've just gone very quickly into the mid control and onto the short control. Now out to the mid doors here for the T's, and look at Jerry trying to aggressive his own right, boost up from one of his teammates. Flit's going to look over the smokes and Endpoint back off, eventually facing so much utility that they just can't seem to crack the mid to B play. Jerry waiting for that smoke to clear. As soon as it does, Surreal could be in deep trouble. It's all a case of timing in the mid play. Meanwhile, Endpoint looking on towards the tunnels, looking for a fast B execution here. Oh, Almazar almost lined up too. Crucial takes him down. Jerry can respond to Surreal, so as they make their way onto the bomb site, it'll be a 4v4 retake.
It's going to be a really tough one coming out from the forZe camp. And one thing you'd certainly notice there is, oh, hang on a minute, let's just see if they're able to deny that bomb. They'll probably still go for this, but Crucial can really shut this down from the tunnel's position. The AWP not quite going to connect, and the follow-up actually goes the way of XiPower.
Waiting for Crucial to reface, and it worked well for him. Thomas going down towards Car. Mighty Max caught out. One pick found by Robin, but responded to so quick by Exi. And it's a 4-0 start for forZe. So quick and deadly on the B retake. That was impressive from the Russians.
Well, one thing that certainly goes to mind for Mighty Max is, considering how much utility came out through mid, the only reason a City side would use that much util on at least the T's establishing a quick mid to B is to stop the rush coming in, because they only had a single defender. And that's why we saw Endpoint. They slow it down. They were able to isolate the single player in the bomb site, but the retake was so damn strong from forZe. And you're right, they didn't slow it down. They didn't set themselves up for retake or to use utility. It was quick and it caught Endpoint off guard.
Double up style coming out from forZe, and you talk about how very little they use this. They got the money very early on to go for this play, so they're going to just absolutely decimate as many as they can. Orb in for Crucial, trying to check out the main bomb site. He doesn't see anyone towards Goose. He didn't see the player that peaked up aggressive. Endpoint playing much slower than their previous rounds here. They're trying to isolate an overly aggressive player from forZe, looking for information, and they almost concede that kill, but Exi gets away at 14 HP.
Endpoint, at least they've established the long control, but look at the amount of players that are here over to this A bomb site. forZe rotated the whole damn camp over to this A bomb site. There is absolutely no one on B.
And I have a feeling that's about to be read by Thomas. They put a lot behind this A site take, but as he creeps into the tunnels, he's going to see no CT resistance. The bomb on the back of Robin is making their way in towards the B bomb site. If Mighty Max can get a kill back here, or at least try and make some noise, then they may be siphoned off from the rotation. They may not even want to go for a rotate in the first place. 35 seconds. And the last few seconds of this round could become the ones that turn the tide. Smokes up, they know what's going on here. Nade to do damage to Crucial, but the T's going to make their way splitting into the B bomb site. Mighty Max strikes on long, takes out the first. Exi on 14 HP, but he doesn't take the swing on the big green con. They'll secure the plant and be a 4 versus 5 retake favor of Endpoint. forZe may even consider the save here.
I've never seen that before. I've never seen an over-rotation for the B bomb site like that. Endpoint go B, they're like, hang on a minute, there's no one here? This can't be right, surely. That was strange. That forZe put so many players to the A bomb site. The B is completely undefended. The closest player is Flit in CT, and once he gets smoked out, he's saying, boys, I can't do anything.
And the first on the board for the Endpoint side. forZe are forced to save their weapons. Of course, a very heavy investment round there. So, you know, as you mentioned, Cole into double up setup if they can. They will be able to do so. So a rebuy should come through. But yeah, mostly down to mistakes from forZe on the tactical basis here. I don't know what caused them to rotate so much, because I don't remember there being like a massive amount of utility there. But something to inquisite the IGO a little bit later on. But now forZe have got to just move forward with that mistake, knowing they've conceded a round back to Endpoint and try recover it from here.
Long corner smoke coming out from Robin while they set themselves up for at least a bit of presence out towards the upper tunnels. If they can get a pick from Crucial with this AWP, that could be the opener they need to go quickly into the B bomb site. Ooh. It looked like he was going to try and take the shot too.
You could just feel his finger moving up on the trigger, just like, oh, I'm so ready to click this, but just held back for a moment. Unfortunately, he didn't fire away because that would have given info, and I don't think he would have gotten the kill. It was a few pixels off the head. Endpoint do establish their mid control off the back of conceding tunnels. Smokes down for the AWP, and Crucial with his own orb strikes on Jerry. Frag found. Surreal at the edge of the smoke, take the second kill, and now they spread the CTs thin across the line. Almaza is expecting a mid to B play, but from tunnels as well is going to be his main concern. Is never mind. Surreal is the big man to get the frag. It's a 5 versus 2. This is a round for Endpoint.
And here we go. We got off to a little bit of a slow start from Endpoint, but this round in particular is really nicely done. They don't even really take any damage. And you've got to think for FaceCrack and XiPower, they're going to try and hold on to their weapons out towards long. Robin heard those footsteps. And at least it gives away the information right. Both players are towards long. We can go hunting if we want. The thing is, they don't want to waste too many lives.
They don't want to waste too much money, I think, is the main thing for them. Look around this corner. Thomas expecting FaceCrack to be there. That's a big, big kill to find. New York left alone. Takes out Max. They have the info they're working with. Players will make their way up and over. Surreal missed out upon. And alongside Thomas will be able to shut down that final player. 3 kills for Surreal. All 5 weapons taken out of play. Still money to force invest for forZe. I think Exi might be looking to drop a rifle. What's the prospects in this round for the CT side?
Well, I mean, they're going to go for the full buy investment. They've certainly, with the amount of money that XiPower has, he's able to drop over 2 rifles. Actually, no, he dropped over a single M4 and bought himself an AWP. But you look at the buy, it's not great, but at the same time, you don't want to just give up the economy game to Endpoint by just going for a half buy. So I like the intent here coming out from forZe, but it's quite a risky play considering how much they've invested in this round. And it's out towards a quick mid to be once again from the T side.
Back to the fast styles of play from Endpoint. They've made it work well on the default passives. M4 will move forward. Sees head from Soul, okay. From Almas, it does get Surreal. Flit gets Mighty Max in the interim. The AK looking for a spray back, but he does return to a 3 versus 3. Flit has got himself a second kill, but not a third. Thomas to return back to evens in a 2-on-2. Got to get that bomb to the bomb site. The SMG of FaceCrack is pushing up. He could find Crucial right here. He's going to hear all these footsteps and jump faces. The M4 is going to call the info back out. Spray through, does damage, takes the kill. Thomas is pinned in the corner, and Jerry will shut him back down. And, well, the round that Endpoint decided to take quickly is the round they lose in whole.
And forget having a calendar. We should start a tally on how many of these half-buy, force-buy rounds that Endpoint have lost. This has got to be 5 now over the course of both Inferno and now Dust 2. But, well, you do have an opportunity to get some nice codes on your hands from our fantastic partners of Hellcase. Malta V at 15 will give you a 15% refill bonus, and Malta V for a little bit of a cash injection. And honestly, Jay, that honestly, for me, seems like the biggest weakness for Endpoint is dealing with these force buys.
Dealing with the rifles as well. Look at Exi with that kill on Crucial. Refacing and notices a player there towards the mid-doors, but does end up losing his life. Flit there for a trade. So 4 versus 3, favor of the CT camp. The M4 is going to make their way across the cross. Grab that orb for Flit. Just let the T's fall back out to position here on the A bomb site. They've got Jerry alone, standing alone on the defensive. That orb's got to get there and try and work with this awkward CT angle. Molotov's in jump facing, but not getting the frags. Flash over, Thomas will get taken out. Second player spotted and sprayed. No kills for Mighty Max. He's got to get that bomb to the bomb site. Robin's got to face around the corner, get the trades, and FaceCrack can respond. So it's all left to Max. 1v3. Oh, he's made noise. They know where he is now. This round should be over. He'll spray, he'll get 1 kill, but there's no other options for him.
And just trying to go for a bomb plant honestly might not be the worst option in the world. Is he going to back off from A and see if he can make his way out through mid? He's got a couple of options. He's certainly Got a variety. Oh, the timing, though. Honestly, if he would have just held that angle rather than jumping up, he probably wins that fight onto flip. But that's the thing. In a 1 versus 2, timing just comes down to so many different elements. And for forZe, they're looking pretty set at the moment on this city side of Dust 2. They're really taking the fight from Endpoint, and I'm getting glimpses of how Endpoint were performing on the T side against Honorous only a few days ago, Jay.
Starting to look concerning. This was the one thing I was terrified about. Oh, and look at Exy with the AWP, the bait in against Crucial as his player, his teammate, crossed past the mid doors and just shut him down instantly. 5 on 4. And forZe don't even have a good buy. They've got 2 SMGs in on this one. FaceCrack will try and make the best of it against Mighty Max, but Max will get the trade back to a 4 versus 4 scenario. surreal going to try take down the player on A's, force Jerry into a very awkward position. Indeed, pushed into Mighty Max's angle, so therefore the A site can see a plant.
forZe might even just kind of opt to go for the save here. They're at a mad disadvantage. Yes, they're pushing the upper tunnels, but they're locked out of this A bomb site, so this should be a 3rd round going to the Endpoint side. Okay, let's see for forZe whether there's any kind of backup here. Endpoint, it certainly seems like after that 4-0 lead, they've just been getting a few rounds here and there. Not the cleanest, but at least trying to keep themselves in the game. And you've got to think on Dust 2 on the T side, they've got to get at least 7 or 8 rounds against a team like forZe.
This will be a 3rd, so they're going to get close enough. Bit of a way to go at this early stage, or mid stage, I guess, in the half. On to round 10, of course, the buy should be pretty confident from the T side. Not so much for the CTs. Again, they had 2 SMGs to go into that round with, so saving their weapons will be able to manage the economy somewhat here, but still going to be a very awkward stance for the buy. So forZe, yeah, most of their rifles are, but limited on utility sets. The fuse kit's only on 3 players. Lack of head Kevlar, which is fine given the AK situation. Out towards the long control here is where they'll push most of their forces. Thomas reads this, so he won't even take the face for the opening kill.
And you can certainly see that even just the playstyle from Endpoint is a lot more passive after these rounds are just being shut down. Thomas gets just completely blind by Robin's flash. And from there, it's an opening kill coming out from forZe. And you've got to think, look at the way that they've been able to set themselves up to keep going for kills.
That a boost up from the blue box? I think it might have been. So Real takes that kill towards the mid position anyway, so that's a opening frag for Endpoint. Of course, respond to the initial one against Thomas. 4 versus 4 situation. Make their way towards the mid position again. The B side is relatively open, but the CTs will get back there faster, so the B side can't press in and just walk straight for the bomb plant. To face a bit of resistance at the very least, but I don't think B is going to be the play here, Dweg.
It certainly doesn't look like that's going to be the case unless they go for a fake short commitment and fall back down and try and split him through mid. But Exy Power, oh, I like this angle. Very far aggressive. If he just goes a little bit further, speed, he's killed, but he can't capitalize on that first. At least he escapes in time.
Box scope in. Oh, what a flick. Instantaneous from one position to Mighty Max. And now looking for Crucial, but surreal takes him down. So 3 versus 3. The plant can be secured. Open for sure. Endpoint love planting open for sure. And the post-plant position is now to ensue. These smokes down. Surreal pushing up as Crucial keeps his eyes on. The real pressing at the Mets to the smoke. He's going to wait for them to pop their way out. The flashbang could come through and it could catch him blind, but they might not check behind themselves as Crucial lands that AWP pick. Surreal's going to get out of dodge. And the CTs look to do the same. This is going to be a 4th for Endpoint. forZe saving the AK and M4.
I'm not exactly sure that Surreal was actually trying to drop down into CT. It looked like he was trying to just get on the edge of short where you're not quite seeing when you peek out, but you're far enough away, and that's what he was lining up, but accidentally dropped into CT. But one thing in particular to keep an eye out for Endpoint is the fact in that 3-on-3, Jay, they didn't try and look for the fights. They smoked off short. Now, what they could have done is held onto their utility and maybe try to flash their way into short to taking that control, but instead, it's a little bit more passive. It's waiting for the CTs to come to them. So it's just a very different style of post plants that we saw from them on Inferno, now going into Dust 2. It seems like they're a little bit more passive and not as eager to try and take the fights.
Well, quite a great shot there from Crucial. He tried his best. Taps up from the CTs, unable to find this AWP down the suicide position. Gonna go ahead and support the T-side as they make their way towards A. There's 2 rifles in forZe, but no one else is brought up, and the first rifle goes down as the opening kill. Robin taking Jerry as he aggresses too far down mid. And now the CTs basically left with their mid and tunnel stack. Endpoint making their way towards A. And this round is already over here. There's nothing forZe can do. Maybe could stack in, maybe could get some exit frags with the pistols and gain some rifles. The back of this eco. The M4 for face crack, that most certainly is going to be an option. And the USP has seen Robin. Robin will take him down. Look for face crack with a nice triple. Nice and efficient from this man. But again, they're lacking in Kevlar. They're lacking in overall firepower. So 4 kills on for the ace. If it gets Almas, that'll be great. But again, so much for an anti-eco, you know?
Yeah, I mean, bit of confidence coming up for Robin, you know. If he gets an ace, then congrats to him. But it looks like Almas is just seeing if he can hold on to that AK, bring it into the following round. Ooh, oh, that's a little bit disappointing, that is.
After he did so well, man.
Yeah.
Didn't quite round out the 5 kills.
Oh, well.
Ah, well.
Better luck next time.
The real. Oh, he also goes down as well. So that's a little bit of lost investment there for the Endpoint side. Should be able to rebuy anyway, so might be too much of a worry at this stage in the game. Maybe could hurt them with future rounds, but honestly, I don't think so. And the bottom line for Endpoint still going to be that scoreline, a 5th to go back within 1 of forZe's lead here. So, you know, they've achieved everything that they can at this stage. Go a little bit further on this T side. Potentially gain the lead, potentially gain the half advantage for Endpoint. That would just be great.
Oh, great nade from Thomas onto Almazer towards the B tunnels. And that takes him so low early on. Flash coming out towards mid, doesn't blind Flit at all, but somehow the T's actually win out that fight. How do they find 2 kills there? That is just insane, and Almazer's got so much to do. Oh no, it's all going wrong. After a 5-on-3 advantage for the Endpoint side, the crossfire being set out through CT. How do forZe bring that back, man?
With great difficulty, but also fantastic positioning. You can watch these kills again. Almazer with his 2 picks and the low HP players lined up for an easy spray from face crack. Oh, that was disaster for Endpoint. As you mentioned, it was going so well. 5 versus 3 and everything, but double orbs back out for the forZe camp. And Crucial, wow, just stopping short of the mark and getting that kill on the mid position. Unfortunately, nothing going right now for the T side. The nades won't even do the same amount of damage. forZe going back to their passive positions. They're just going to wait out the round, take apart Endpoint, just like they did in the last one.
Oh, even just some of the confidence out through mid. The mid players in particular of Cyril and Robin, I've been very impressed in terms of confidence. The fact that Cyril just wide swings the AWP like that. The thing is, a lot of the time though, even with these mid plays, they don't have a lot of support. At least this time around, they gain onto that advantage. They hold on to it. And for forZe, even Jerry's taken quite low. Just a couple of bullets will take him down.
Once again, Endpoint starting things off on a good start.
Ooh.
Can they follow suit?
Oh!
XC does connect. Does get Thomas in the end. Couldn't quite catch him, even though his crosshair was trailing there for a good 2 to 3 seconds. Surreal struggling against the short control, but Mighty Max is there to bail him out. Not able to do the same to Almazer, though. They're going to rush their way back. Almazer could be in with so much. He gets a 2nd kill and evens the situation to a 2 versus 2. They will concede the B-bomb site. They should concede the bomb plant. I say that. Jerry still could swing in from the new B door. The smoke goes down. The flashers go over. They make their way towards site. Jerry evading that flash despite being so close to it. But Robin does get the bomb down.
And it all really comes down to Crucial. He needs to hit this shot with the AWP. It's so impactful. And there it is. Jerry in a 1 versus 2. And he's now made noise. They know exactly where he is, on towards the side. He's got to try and deal with 2 players. And Robin's just making this so awkward, repositioning around the side. And another round going to Endpoint. That actually resets the money line. Yes, XE Power can buy an AWP, but no one else can buy rifles. And, well, he does buy an AWP. What is with forZe in these buys, man? Like, honestly, why are they forcing this?
I mean, it didn't make that much sense previously, but they did make it work over on Inferno in some of the crucial matches. So, you know, let that be what you think it would be. Robin, 36 HP on the start here. Endpoint, unfortunately, not getting off of the right foot. forZe also taking damage with their pistols out. I mean, it's overall more impact for a lot less, well, not less overall investment here for the forZe side. AK looks for that first kill on surreal, though takes damage again, but not that much against Almazur, and doubles up to take out XE Power. So 5 versus 3, and now it's all pistols across the CT board.
I get so confused sometimes with forZe's buy. It just makes absolutely no sense why they're forcing that. But, I mean, they do what they do best. This is actually kind of cheeky. So, Surreal said that the B bomb side's open, but Flit's behind him.
Does catch Surreal. Gonna focus here on the long controls. The only B player has been taken out. Second smoke's down, flashes over a big gap for the Tees to cross, but that allows Flit a kill. As CZ bursts in, but they 5-7 to the backline. She gets the 2 kills on long. Now suddenly it's Mighty Max left alone at 1 versus 2. And well, we've talked about that force by working. It may well do the same right here. Max checking CT. Molotov landing on the bomb site directly. That may have been a missed molly. Looking on short, they're both going to come from long. The AWP of Flit got everything to do. Face crack, if he can get close, he can do the damage, but he's got the defuse kit. He's got to stay alive. Max spots in, sprays through, can't get the second frag. 3 kills for face crack, and a defuse coming through for forZe.
6 eco losses we've seen from Endpoint across the 2 maps in this series, and it's just unacceptable. It is just... You can't say anything about it. The fact that they're able to get a 5-on-3 advantage, things look so great. They take the AWP out of play, and somehow Flit comes up from lower tunnels, picks up that AWP, takes a reel back in as he rotates into the site, and just... It's disappointing, because you've got to think, if they clean up their act in terms of these ecos, then they could be so far in the lead.
A half advantage gained by forZe off the back of their efforts. See, the buy-ups of both teams are going to look awkward AF. Mighty Max finds that opening kill on XE towards Shaw. Does not see the second player that's right there. The first AWP has dropped. Face Crack is right there. The wallbang coming in from Flit. They do check this, but Face Crack gets the kill on Mighty Max. Falls back out at 11 HP. Face Crack just going to reface in instead, actually. Thomas, the bomb plant down. Almazur is there with the FAMAS. Is it going to boost up? I think it's going to get boosted up by Almazur here. No, they're going to put Face Crack instead. Jerry takes out Robin. Face Crack going to pop his head up, take the M4 kill. 4 versus 2. And again, broken buys here for the CT camp. And Face Crack does it all. 3 kills for the man. And a 9th to the board of forZe to close out their CT half.
And honestly, that's a really great half coming out from forZe. We saw the double AWPs having a massive amount of impact. And, well, 9-6 up, you've got to think, if they can win pistol, if they can get the momentum they need, considering the fact that statistically they find more rounds on the T side, that is a very, very stellar performance on CT. Oh, those odds have changed.
How your friends abandon you.
Yeah, they really do. I mean, look at that. 1.27 for forZe now. Oh, those are some damn good odds over at LootBet. They really are.
If you want to get involved in those odds, then you can click the banner under the Twitch channel. You can get 10 free CSGO spins and up to 100 euros on your deposit. Get involved in multi-vibes via the best way at LootBet. Smoke down for Jerry. Double flash defuse for Mighty Max. That's the utility players of both sides. Default pistols and Kevlar across the entire board. And Surreal's going down first. Thomas will make sure he's going down swinging as Almazur Casualty next up here. The boost coming back in towards the bomb site. They're struggling to get Thomas up there. The T's have backed off a little bit. forZe may consider other options.
I'm kind of surprised that they are. I mean, they do have a smoke, so they've got an option whether they get next smoke, Xbox smoke down, or like they do have options. But the fact that they've already committed to this long presence and getting so much control, you could certainly expect that they're going to commit. They've got a late lurk coming out from FaceCrack towards that short position. Great shot from Thomas, and that actually gives the man advantage over to the Endpoint lineup.
Taps up 3 versus 3. FaceCrack gets Thomas next forward here. Crucial on bomb site, dealt with by Jerry, who doubles up on Mighty Max. And suddenly Robin is left alone. 1 versus 3. Berry's on 1 HP. Could be the most susceptible trade of his own right, but the defuse get out of play for the man he's now known. And this is going to be 10 on the board for forZe. Endpoint, unfortunately, suffering here on Dust 2. Their own map pick. It was questionable, and this is exactly why here. USP can't do the damage. Double digits for forZe.
And I'm really scared now for the Endpoint side. You look at this map and you think it should not be at this kind of a scoreline. forZe have certainly done their homework. They've looked very dominant. They have not really given too many rounds over to that Endpoint side. And they're going to force the issue. And you've got to think here, they lose this force, forZe are going to be up 12-6.
Endpoint tagged up early on here. Trying to take a lot of stock in their first map performance against this. Oh, native Robin starting things off on FaceCrack. Kicking it over to the longhouse. And forZe will fall back an early on, but Endpoint forced by to try replicate their results against this forZe side. They first took each other on Dust 2. It was 10 rounds in a row for Endpoint CT side, so you channel those inner sort of previous experiences. And they're doing all right here in the force buy round. They've gone 2 frags.
Very successful. They've been able to pick up an AK from Mighty Max. And now you think for forZe, how do they bring this back? They're in a 3-on-5 disadvantage. They don't have a lot of utility. They've only got a smoke and a flashbang to use. It's going to have to be a mid to beast play by the looks of things. And just some raw aim duels. But even for Endpoint, they're now stacking 2 players up from this B bomb side. And it's the scout that's there for Crucial.
Robin's going to hear those footsteps. Crucial tapping away. Good kill for Robin. Deagle goes ham. Traded back by XC. The UMP of Thomas swings in. Crucial instead gets those kills. But Robin, the hero that Endpoint needed, stepping up at the right moment. And a big force buy victory for the CT camp.
And that's huge. That honestly puts Endpoint potentially back in the game. I certainly would have said they lost that round. They've just lost so much momentum. They could have just let this Dust 2 map slip and just taken it straight to a 3rd. But now that they've won that force buy, it gives them an opportunity to claw these rounds on CT. Jay, you just mentioned it, the fact of how many rounds we saw from them in a row on CT side when they faced off against each other and a little bit earlier in their last matchup. That could be the opportunity to be able to replicate. And off the back of this buy from forZe, they have to force. They're on double eco status. They're going in for the B split.
Nades on. That's a lot of damage. The SMG doesn't get the kill, though. Second smoke's up, flashes over 2 players on the B bomb site. Could get overwhelmed, especially as the headshots come in. Surreal's a dead man. And Crucial and Thomas have to save. The fast mid to B play relied on the CT player to get the kills, but only the HG damage. And FaceCrack and Almazar aren't even dead. I can't believe Endpoint conceded that round.
That's insane. That is just, man, you're right. I can't believe they conceded it. That was so quick coming out from forZe in the B split, and just the damage that gets found. And you've just got to think for Endpoint, they've done so much work to be able to convert the force buy in the 2nd round after pistol, and now they've lost the follow-up. This has got to be like 6 or 7. I can't even remember how many rounds we've seen of Endpoint losing to force buys. It's been too many at this point. Way too many.
Tactical pause for forZe this time. Would have thought this would have been a tactical for Endpoint instead, because, you know, they're the ones on the back foot and currently being decimated by the T side of their opponents. Man, it has not been a fun time to be Endpoint in this map up. Contrary could be said over on Inferno, but just 7-11. And at least they get the moment's respite to discuss things as well, but just this buy up here, it's like the question is, how many options do they have?
Yeah, they don't really have a lot. You've just got to think, maybe you can get Thomas firing up, but you even look at the kills across the board for the Endpoint side. Robin's been doing a pretty sensational job of at least being consistent, but no one's really popping off from this Endpoint side. And going into round number 19, the force back from Endpoint, and look at the aggression out towards long. It is so fast out for the T side, but it actually goes the way of the CTs. Crucial and Thomas working together, a 5-on-3. They can't lose this.
Jerry will try change his fortunes, making his way up to the short position. The Deagle of Robin ready to roll some heads out. Also got some mid control from the scout. Surreal got flicked. Oh, what a flick to the head. Oh! And the second kill. And now FaceCrack stands alone. 1-on-5. M4 with the bomb on his back, facing in against Crucial, will drop the man. But to get the bomb plant fending off the rest of the CTs, that is a tall order.
FaceCrack, what can he do here? He's on for the ace at this point. 1 versus 5 attempt, now 1 versus 4, and he's got a bit of a cheeky off angle to work with, but with that molly spreading and the spam coming through from Robin, Endpoint, clean up house. Those shots from the scout from Surreal, what was that?
The round winner is what it was. From there was no chance, absolutely no chance of FaceCrack to win it. The start was fantastic. The mid-round was beautiful as well. 11-8. Endpoint trying to claw their way back into this game. We'll see the buys coming through. You can watch these shots again from Surreal. The second one was a wall bang, like little mini flick with the mouse, you know? Like one of those really difficult ones that just somehow resets back to position. And it worked beautifully for him.
Okay, well, every time we sleep on Endpoint, it seems like they've got an answer, but no, that's not the best of starts. Again, we've seen how quick this long aggression's come out from the T side. Yes, they've done a fair bit of damage onto Jerry, but the short commitment, no one knows about Almaze, and no one's even checking the position. And when this round's over before it started, Thomas has to do absolutely everything, and you'd have to think, yeah, this is over. Mighty Max and Surreal have to just try and save. How did Almaze run up short without anyone knowing?
Endpoint are getting really complacent when they claim these rounds back. Like, yeah, we took one off you boys, but then they just don't follow it up. They hesitate. No one watching mid, no one able to cover that off. You know, they put all their attention to the long position and the longhouse face. And then they just absolutely wreck what Endpoint had to work with. And that's such a shame. After such a good round, such a clutch round there from the weird force by upgrades. 4 rifles come in, now they've got to save an SMG and an AK because there's no way they're going to be able to do anything on the retake. Yes, Flit is low, but that's it. 12-8, forZe engaged in a full-on war of attrition against Endpoint. You must imagine the force buy's got to come through. And they should drop some M4s and such, get some decent rifles out. But they have to win a round, they have to follow it up and start bringing themselves back within the deficit.
Oh my, this is just down to the wire, and for forZe, they're getting closer and closer to round 16. Again, we've seen the long challenge coming out from the CT side. They bring so many players over, but forZe, they change it up. They've gone quick aggressively out for long, probably the last 2 or 3 rounds in a row. This time around, they just give it up to the CT side.
Mid control established, very much more passive from Endpoint. Got Robin to hold the CT spawn again with his FAMAS. Goes so passively for this one as well. There's only one player defending on the B bomb site as well. If Robin can't control his position, then suddenly he's going to be in a very awkward stance, and he does get that first kill, but it's traded back by Jerry. Low HP grabbing the orb, 60 seconds. They go towards B, then Surreal's got to have to do everything.
And you think if Surreal gets taken down without finding a couple of kills, it's probably just going to be an instant save coming out from Endpoint. The rotators are just not there in position. Yeah, there's a player out towards CT. of Mighty Max, but even for him, he's got to have a really tough ask, and the timing on face crack, this could be everything. This could be absolutely everything if he finds the opener. And there it is.
There's surreal, only man standing on the B bomb site, and they're going to rotate away. They're going to go back to the A bomb site. They're going to draw their attention away from the short position, which is exactly what Crucial is going to be left with. A flashbang over. They know that he's down there somewhere, facing against Almaza. He gets the kill alongside face crack. So now Surreal's just got to stay alive at this stage. forZe go to unlucky 13, but certainly lucky given the scoreline deficit. And Endpoint just don't have enough money to work with. They have to go eco. I think the loss bonus will conduce it to be a buy up in the round afterwards. By that point, we're looking at a 14-8, you know, assuming forZe win the rounds.
Yeah, and I'm pretty confirmed now that forZe are going to take this map. I just don't see there being a way that Endpoint can bring this back. They certainly have just not really gathered any kind of momentum in the second half. The only rounds they've won have been split, not backed off from one another. And you're right, you know, the money game, they have not been able to keep on top of it. And Surreal, yes, he's able to save an AK over at the B bomb side, but they can't really force the issue. And they're going to get 2,400 in the next round. I mean, even that, for Mighty Max and Thomas, they still don't really have enough money. So this honestly could be a force buy coming out from Endpoint.
The half buy in general for the CT side. Mostly eco again, just with the upgrades coming across that board. And tunnels control coming in from Surreal. Ready for the mid-aggressive face. Catch Almaza, he could catch Xe, it all comes at the time. And when does he face get that headshot on the first man? Another T-side player there to swing on Jerry. Surreal's going to get out of dodge. He hears them rushing forward. He could get through. He gets away with Surreal, and Robin will take back one. Face crack entering towards the B bomb site. Gets Mighty Max in mid. A second AK to work with a 3 versus 3. They're going to go for a retake.
Yeah, well, they're going to get enough. Well, they're going to get money to buy into the next round anyway, so they might as well just try and go for it. See if you can limit the economy for the T side. You've picked up 3 big rifles, and let's see if they can work with it. Not a great amount of utility to work with on the CT side. A couple of mollies, and Xe Power. He's just trying to lock down this angle.
Yes, Thomas indeed. Mac 10 in against Crucial. Xe actually is the man that gets that kill with a secondary flick back, and face crack deals with Robin. So not to be in this case, and the rifles fall back into T-side hands. No major damage done. And in general, forZe have got such a decent amount of money that I don't even think any major damage would have been done to the economy, assuming Endpoint were able to get themselves 3 kills. The rifles in for the CTs, the M4's coming out, the UMP for Mighty Max. Another tactical called by forZe here. Probably letting Endpoint stew on this current situation while simultaneously trying to figure out how we go. Just 2 more rounds to go past the finish line.
And if I'm thinking of this correctly, we've only seen a single tactical from Endpoint on the first map and none on the second. I believe we saw the tactical at like round 3. To start Inferno off. And outside of that, I don't remember Endpoint taking a single tactical, whereas for forZe, they've been using them across Dust 2, across Inferno, and you've got to think for Endpoint, this is the perfect round to bring out a tactical. You've got a UMP on the back of Mighty Max, you've got M4s across the board, you've got a single kit. This is do or die at the moment.
Last chance saloon for Endpoint. Like, if they have to force buy in the next round, then I just don't see it happening. I just don't see them being able to do much. Like, you know, we said that before with some of the other force buys we found, but we're just with the sheer amount of pressure and the number of rounds they have to do to get back into overtime. Like, it's just too much for me. Endpoint better flip the switch now if they want to try and get their best chance at this OT, or maybe even this map victory in this 2-0. Again, passive positions taken by the CT side. Mighty Max so far out of the CT spawn, that UMP is going to do nothing if they go mid to B.
forZe have gained a fair bit of map control at the moment, a little bit of establishment out towards the upper tunnels. They've taken short, and all this really comes down to for Endpoint is playing incredibly passive. I don't think Flip was seen. He is now. That's a great advantage. The B lurk coming out from the T side doesn't find anything. That's now going to force forZe into executing to this A bomb site. That's exactly what Endpoint need, an opening advantage to work with.
Funnel into the bomb site that they've got the majority of their players are at. 3 in total, 2 directly defending A. And I want to cut off rotations from the mid position so Rio and Robin can make their way back out into the A-site defense. It flashes over. Crucial gonna face away from it. See so many spray through, do damage, not get the kills. Robin will get face cracked. The UMP still there towards Goose. Furthermore, he's in as he tries to refine his position here against the all odds. It's all Almaza to take him down. 3 on 3. Thomas still here towards long as his backup comes in for the retake. Robin does drop Exy power. Nade to his position. Will do a little bit of damage, not much overall. Almaza seen. Headshot straight through. Surreal takes him down. All left to Jerry, 1 pick found, but Thomas will win the fight and will just keep Endpoint alive.
Oh, that's big. Huge retake coming out from Endpoint, that 3 on 3, and it all just comes down to peeking on each other's contact, establishing the crossfires being set. But for Endpoint, right, look how many rounds in a row it's going to take from them just to reset the economy line from forZe. They've got so much money to work with. And even for Endpoint, you know, maybe if they hold on to 3, 4 players staying alive, they can build up a bit of a bank for themselves. But considering it was only 2 surviving when that retake came out, they have to upgrade weapons on 3 different players.
Having investment can come through from forZe, so they can rebuy for a couple more rounds here against the Endpoint side. And look at how quickly they're going to go. Face crack is going to get punished for it. First pick not found. Second player seen towards mid. The AWP could potentially find one. Surreal sees the shoulder and does damage and then backs off. Endpoint playing a lot more passive-aggressively. Knowing when they're in danger, it's better to save their lives than to lose them for trades.
And that was very aggressive coming out from FaceCrack. Almost unnecessary aggression that just easily found an opening kill for a Surreal, I believe it was. Or Crucial, I should say. Endpoint. 2 players over towards this B bomb site. forZe again going back to taking the short control. And you've got to think for forZe, all it comes down to is if they can isolate this single player on the bomb side, because Crucial's got the AWP, but he's really alone. His teammate Thomas is way too far away to help assist him in a short commitment.
Got to land all these shots, and he has been pretty impressive, but not that much here in this map-up. Here we go, T-side coming through, they're dropping the CT spawn. Jerry's gonna see Crucial, take him down, isolate that first pick. Thomas is there towards long, but on 1 HP. He can't reface, he can't deny the bomb site and the plant. The man advantage for this retake, he will set himself up and try and do his part here.
Oh, Exy power, this could be big with the AWP. No flashbang coming out, finds the first, not quite the second as the swing comes up, but Thomas is so damn low, just 1 point of health. And in this 2-on-2 retake, that molly towards a short position will at least deal with Jerry, but flits on towards the site and they don't know about him yet.
And a Gandalf Molotov towards that site will not flush him out, will not do the damage, will not get a kill. I think that plant's been planted open as well. Should they realize that Gandalf is here? Orb scope in! I thought Jerry landed the collateral. But Flit chimes in at the exact same moment, and forZe gets a map point.
Oh, I mean, that looked like a collateral. It really did look like one, but no, it was Flit trying to help him out in the end, and you've got to think for Endpoint, they had to get that retake successfully. And now going into round 25, the buy's not there, the money's not there, and well, the damn round is not there.
Crucial and land some 6 scout shots again to turn their fortunes, but honestly, I think you're right. I think they're out of this one. They have to win this in order to stay alive on Dust 2, and it's just not going to happen, I don't think. Damage done to Exy to begin. To get that much out, but Crucial return with a wall bang, leg shot, and Gary to take the man down. Surreal turning away at the wrong possible moment, and that's Flit getting another kill. 3 more to go for the T side before they take us to a 3rd map of Train. An Endpoint. They have behind a response, but they have been in general just a lot more disappointing by comparison. Hold the phone, we found a 3 versus 3.
A good answer back coming out from Endpoint. And, oh, Jerry, if he makes a solo play out from mid and takes Robin down, then that will really start to force the rotates out from the CT side. Our Mazer, they don't know about him. They haven't heard the footsteps. But the problem is, for Our Mazer, as soon as he takes contact out from the mid player, that's the information that's been pulled across to Thomas.
Oh, he misses his spray, and Jerry strikes at the right moment, so their key moment there, their key chance to take something back has been wasted. Mighty Max with a Deagle, taken down by Almaza, 16-9. forZe are going to a third map.